Hello friends and welcome back to Nova Scotia. I'm Shannon Makes, fixer-upper by day, circus artist by night. And last week, we spent the whole episode cleaning out even more of this crazy basement in order to get a better look at our foundation wall. We saved a bunch of brick and we took a ton of junk to the dump for a total cost of $15.75. And now it's time to see if we can recoup that cost with a run to the scrapyard and put the money in Money Pit. This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Okay, well the first dump run is done. It was roughly $15 or so. Now we're gonna start to load the car up with metal, but we're looking at it and we're pretty sure that oil tank is way longer than the back of my car. So we're gonna cut it in half the other way. And because we had so much fun cutting it with the Sawzall before, we're actually gonna try the grinder. So we're gonna head in the basement. Phil's got the grinder and the safety glasses. What are you, Swell Entertainment? All right, let's go.
My gloves. This is a bit smaller than it used to be.
The last giant chunk of metal.
Can bring the other rods and
Yeah. Oh yeah, that.
while we're there, it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be grind on the strap and it's gonna fall. Actually, it's pretty good for what is it? Train X, so
What?
T95X, the HIIT workout thing.
It's a lot of metal. What do we think? 15 bucks worth?
I don't know. It's big, but it's not that heavy compared to all the pipes that we put.
Yeah. Maybe $5.
Probably more.
Well, let's go find out.
1, 2, 3. This game. Remember this?
I've never seen that.
Oh no? So you have to put all the shapes in before the timer, otherwise it would jump out and everything would pop out.
I've never seen that in my life.
Yeah, you have the timer here. Then with a spring, so you push it down, start the timer, start. And then if you have to be done and do stop before the end. Otherwise all the pieces will go.
Wow. Hi, Corgi. Yo, shukutuku. Hey, shukutuku.
$12 and some change.
All right.
That's basically exactly what it cost to dump the first load. It was 14 bucks, I think.
It was 15. So not quite kif, but pretty darn close. I'm calling that a win. So yeah, we've got the Corgi in the car, and I think we're gonna go have some fun in the snow. You know what's cool? Having your own website. And you know what's even cooler? Designing it all yourself with Squarespace's super easy to use platform. They have so many customization options. They've got different color palettes, a wide range of fonts and layouts available, all of which make it really fun to just sit down and tinker, play around with what layouts and aesthetics you're into. Now, of course, design is only one part of having a website, although I dare say it's the most enjoyable part. Squarespace offers storefront capabilities to sell anything from physical products to digital downloads to memberships. So check out Squarespace for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/ShannonMakes to get 10% off your first purchase of website or domain. So we are going to just clean up this corner a little bit more. Thinking that if we get it clean, we can then monitor if how moist it gets if we have a lot of water coming in here. I suspect we will, because this is the back wall of the house and the hill is that way. So when it rains, all the water comes down the hill. And this is the section. We don't have the French drain in, because remember, we put a French drain in a long time ago. If you haven't seen those episodes, you know, I'll link them here. So we put a French drain in along all the back wall except up to right here, because we could not access that part because the oil tank was there. So now the oil tank is gone, which means we can continue on eventually with the French drain and hook that up. So yeah, cleaning it up, and then also just gonna finish the day off by plugging in the thermal camera and walking around and just trying to fill in some holes where we're missing insulation. You know, let's go. One thing I don't need the thermal camera for is this crack right here, because I can feel literal gust of wind coming out of here. Actually, I should show you a close-up of the cobwebs that are blowing in the wind furiously because there is quite a breeze rushing through here. This is the corner of the house where we changed the one sill plate, and yeah, we can just see there's been a whole lot of motion in this wall, probably due to several decades of missing gutters here. So there's just like water poof, pouring down all along here. And yeah, so there's a big old breeze. Gonna solve it for now by jamming some insulation in there, but gonna have to go back and either do some serious repointing or maybe some more hardcore foundation work. I'm not sure. But for now, it's gonna be some pink insulation. Gotta be sure I can take it back out of there later. Ooh, much better. Where else? I don't know why. That one specifically was like a direct highway to outside. The rest is pretty good, honestly.
This stone here is at -1 degrees.
Which one?
This whole stone here.
That rock in particular is
yeah,
extra
there's
cold.
one really cold rock there, so it's probably fairly open behind it, and it's just cold from the outside. Right next to the sill plate here, there's missing insulation. There's -4 airflow right there. Let's see the rest of the wall. The rest of the wall is cold, but there's no like super blue spot here. Here is here actually, yeah. You can feel wind here too. This we can maybe address by inside also, but if you could shove stuff in, especially this one here.
Okay.
These cracks here a little bit compared to the rest, because the rest of the wall, yeah, it's cold, but it's like 2 degrees, and that corner is -2.
If we come take a look outside, it is really windy, so I don't know how much noise disruption we have, but here's what the backyard looks like in the winter with a happy little corgi running around. So you will have seen some of the work that we done back here, but this is officially what it's looking like. Yeah, we put a lot of work into landscaping back here. My goodness, that is a needy corgi. Anyway, we're outside at the moment because we were going to be working on the attic, but then I heard a very annoying dripping sound, and we realized that we have some problems with our gutters here. It's they're actually working really well still. The problem is that, as you can see, Phil is clearing the snow off of them right now. They've just filled with snow, and so they're overflowing is basically what it is. They're overflowing, and then they're dripping all down underneath that window there. So we just have to go through. Oh, nice. He just cleared a big old hunk of it. Yeah, so he's just gonna go through. We're taking advantage of the fact that it's a fairly nice day out today. It's only -1, so that's why everything is liquid and running. She's so happy. We're expecting more snow. It's supposed to be -16 in the next couple days, and then it's going to warm up again. We're going to get more snow, so taking advantage of the nicer weather today to do a few things like, you know, clearing these gutters and then working in the very well insulated attic, which means that it is actually fairly cold up there thanks to all the insulation work we've done. So here are the lovely logs from trimming that branch they're still just hanging out here. That looks like so much fun. Don't have any reason to do anything else with them. And here are all the bricks. The stack is still standing. And good news, the stack stayed strong all summer because we stacked it in the winter, and so we weren't sure that we were able to get the pallet level. There was a small concern that they might just tip completely over and then all these bricks would come falling down. But no, we did a pretty good job. It stayed, still along with all of our firewood that we haven't used because we don't have a fireplace, but it is still neatly standing there. So that's the outside of the house at the moment. And hopefully the wind wasn't so bad that you can't hear any of this audio. Also, yeah, you'll see that this whole bottom layer down here is all Tyvek, because we did open up that wall this past autumn, did some work on that, and then we also opened up all this corner here too. We had to change out this sill plate. That sill plate is brand new, this one that runs this way. And then this spring we're gonna have to change this sill plate here. I've been instructed to come over and film. Yes, go for it. So yeah, these gutters doing their job very nicely. It goes all down this very ugly downspout that will eventually be improved at some point. It's running into here, and then what we've discovered is actually that this is frozen. It's all frozen in there, so that's why the water is backing up here and overflowing and falling
Why
here.
Why it backed up? It's because it was full of leaves.
Ah! Don't know if you heard that. He said it was backed up because it was full of leaves. But it's a shame because we had a really good system in place. The water would run from here, it would go down this downspout here, and then if you can see here, dumps into a pipe that goes underground. And that is because when we did all of this landscaping back here, we also installed a French drain that goes along this wall. It does a U-turn, and then it dumps out way over there. So basically it's shuttling all of the water from this hill, goes down, gets caught in the drain here, and then gets, shot out that way. And this is tied into that, so all that water goes into that pipe there, splooch, into that pipe there, which then connects to the French drain somewhere around here, and then gets shot out that way. Billy, look. Yeah, you're gonna show us the drain?
Yeah, so there was a leaf cloggage that then when it started to freeze kind of made a dam, and then it's frozen solid all the way there. So then the water just kept accumulating and then froze when it was minus 15. And now even if it's thawing this year, it's still clogging.
Yeah.
But there's no more screws and it's still solid. So we need to bring that inside, put it under running water, forget it for an hour or two, and then
Yeah.
Right now it's open, so it can drip at least in the corner.
Yeah. Go inside and make leaf soup.
Leaf soup.
All right, Canal. We're making some leaf soup. Leave it. Okay, leave it. There you go. That's funny. Leaf soup. Actually, it's not even. It's a leaf sickle. A gutter sickle?
Yeah.
Yeah, bigger gutters with a leaf screen would be in order eventually.
Yeah. So we're done with cleaning the brick sections and the oil tank, but we have a bunch of unusable pieces of brick that I'm gonna go dump at the dump. Dump at the dump. Yeah, I'm gonna dump at the dump.
While Phil is unloading all of those buckets and bins, I wanted to take a second to remind you that I had a little bonus video come out last Wednesday. It's really short, it's only about 10 minutes long, but it answers some common viewer questions and gives a little extra information on the dry rot situation in the entryway. So that'll be linked at the end of this video as well as in the video description. So be sure to check it out if you missed it the first time around.
So we're in the attic, and this section of the floor connects with the wall of the extension. And because it's a balloon frame, those cavities are empty and the heat is getting lost right at this junction. So we're gonna have to remove 1 or 2 boards from there and insulate that, air seal that, and then close it back up. Because 11-degree air in the attic is unacceptable. So this is the trap to the bathroom, and this is where the wall cavity arrives and is open to elements. So all along there we need to remove a board or 2 and cap that and foam that and insulate that, because a lot of temperature is coming from there. You can see it's 10 degrees here and the rest of the attic is -7, and it's leaking in some of the bays here, but that's a detail. But yeah, we need to open this and cap that because we're losing a lot of heat by this wall here. The base of that chimney here has the same problem. We didn't quite seal it well enough when we insulated, and now it's losing a bunch of heat.
So this is another one of those classic old house tasks that isn't super interesting or glorious, but kind of just needs to get done. And you've already seen so much footage of us up here in the attic in previous episodes working on the insulation that I honestly didn't really bother to film too much of this. But basically we had to open up these horizontal boards here. This is the wall that separates the kitchen and bathroom extension from the rest of the house, and we wanted to get those boards off to access the stud bays. Now this does mean that we had to make a couple cuts to get those boards off, but we were careful to do it on the studs so that we could replace the boards properly afterwards.
It's a bunch of old nails from the lead flashing that was on there.
Then we worked on extending the insulation down a bit further into the stud bays by essentially creating these shelves of rigid insulation that would allow us to insulate the top section of the wall, basically all of the wall that you can see here in the attic, without having to fill the entire wall cavity with insulation. Because like I said, this wall is between the bathrooms and the kitchens, and the vast majority of it is an interior wall, so it shouldn't normally need to be insulated. It's really just this top portion of the wall. Everything you see in the attic is what needs insulation to keep the heat in the rest of the house and not in our attic. So our solution to that was making these shelves out of rigid foam. And of course they had to be carefully measured and cut, and they were very individually sized because of course every stud bay is its own very unique size. And once we had those all cut, we could carefully insert them into the wall as low as we could reach, and then we could fill on top of that shelf with insulation. And it was a super goofy job because, you know, even with the boards fully removed from that portion, we still didn't have great access to the stud bays, and a lot of the times we had to use our phones to film the cavities, which is what you're seeing here, and then we would watch the footage back to see exactly what was happening in each stud bay because there just wasn't enough room to put our whole heads in. We couldn't look with our own eyes, so essentially our phones became our eyes. And in the end, once it was fully insulated and we brought the thermal camera back out, it did definitely help. We did restrict a bit of the heat, but I'll be the first to admit that we didn't do a perfect job. It could still be improved upon, and that both Phil and I are looking forward to the moment when we can remove all of the plaster from the bathroom walls. Those are the rooms directly under this, and that's gonna allow us to do this job both better and more easily from the bottom section of the wall rather than trying to do it awkwardly from the top. Just another classic old home problem that involves some creative problem solving and a bit of dedication. So be sure to check out that bonus video I talked about. It should be on screen right now, and be sure to tune in next week when we start tearing down some walls, making some really fun and a little bit alarming discoveries, and solving a mystery in the process.
There we go.
Nice.
And just for fun.